So we're getting ready to watch Star Wars, right?
Yep.
And what are you doing?
Crocheting.
You're crocheting.
Yeah, I'm crocheting.
How motherly are you that you're crocheting before a Star Wars
I'm trying
movie?
to get it done before Christmas.
Star Wars! Hey everybody! I'm finally getting to my spoiler-free review for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, I was excited for this movie, and I have to say it was a great decision for them to do this specific story for the first anthology movie. We have our core 9, which 8 and 9 are still to come, but you have your core 9 movies, and when Disney bought the rights to Lucasfilm, they decided to start doing these anthology movies, which take place in the same universe, have tie-ins to the core 9, but are not about the main characters, or they might be other stories with them, but don't necessarily have to do with the Jedi and the Force and all that stuff. I thought this was a great entry into the anthology because it's based on the first two paragraphs of the scroll of the original movie, Star Wars 4: A New Hope. And it's the story of the group that stole the Death Star plans. I thought that was a great idea, and I was really excited for this movie, and man, did they pay off. They gave us a great movie. I was so relieved and happy leaving the theater. Gareth Edwards did a great job of directing. He does such a good job of doing scale. So there's scenes where you're supposed to see stuff in the background or show how high up in the air you are. And Gareth Edwards really pulls that off, where you can feel the scale of of things in the distance, or how big something is with the AT-ATs, or how high up in the air that you are. You can see details of what's on the ground, but the depth is jarring. It's awesome. I love that. He does a great job with that. He proved it in Godzilla when he did Godzilla. And again, he did it in this movie. I have to give him props, man. Good job, Gareth. I'm excited for whatever you do next. I'm curious to see what you come up with. I also liked that this movie was darker and grittier. Most of the Star Wars movies, except for the prequels, have a used feel to them. Like, things have been used for years. They're kind of dirty. They're not the clean, pristine. That's what made the original trilogy so appealing to sci-fi fans, even though I consider Star Wars a fantasy and not a science fiction, because it's magic, takes place in the past, all that kind of stuff. This one is even dirtier. It feels like, for the original Star Wars, for that you have stories of the people at the top, the generals, the Jedi, the Sith, everybody that's controlling everything. This movie feels like the point of view of the guy that's a mechanic, or the low level guy that is messed around. He doesn't get to be in charge of anything. He's the grunt army man. He's the lowly stormtrooper. And I like that. It's like seeing it from the bottom point of view. You're seeing everything from a different side. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. For the cast, I think everybody was well cast. All of the actors were cast very well for their roles. Felicity Jones, she played Jyn Erso, our main female character. Very strong character. I like a strong female character. Diego Luna played Cassian, our other main character. And what I like about his character, he's not squeaky clean. They do show that everybody has a dirty side. and I don't want to get too far into that because this is a spoiler-free review. We'll get into spoilers in my spoiler talk video that I'm going to do in a couple of days. Alan Tudyk as K2SO, awesome. He was one of my favorite characters. I'm just really happy with that droid, and I want more of him. Donnie Yen and Wen Zhang played these two guys, Chirrut, I think? Chirrut, Imu, and Baze Malbus. They're probably my favorite characters. I loved those characters. I like their dynamic, that they're partners basically, and they support each other. But Donnie Yen, I've always been a big fan of Donnie Yen, so him being in Star Wars in general makes me happy. But his character was awesome. I loved his character, and I would love to see other Star Wars films about his character, or other, maybe add him in the cartoons, put him in Rebels. That would be great. Star Wars Rebels. I'd love to see him in that. Ben Mendelsohn played Orson Krennic, General Krennic, or Director Krennic, sorry. I loved him as Director Krennic. There's something about Ben that just comes off on screen which worked for this character, and we'll talk about it in the spoiler review, but I thought he was perfectly cast for Director Krennic. Forrest Whitaker was in it as a character named Sam, who, that character was introduced in the Clone Wars CG animated show. I don't think they really showed the importance of his character. He just was there, but for a casual fan, you're not going to know the importance of him or really what he's doing in the movie, except that he's there for a while. So I was a little disappointed with that. I was hoping that they would give a little bit more backstory on him, maybe, to touch on that, show what his importance would be to the whole rebellion. But alas, we didn't get that. Riz Ahmed played a pilot that defected, and he's always nervous. And I thought he did a great job as that character, but he still finds his courage. I do like that. Mads Mikkelsen played Jen's father, Erso. Can't really talk too much about his character, but I think he was extremely well cast, and I love that actor. I like Mads. I like seeing him in anything that he does, but he was perfectly cast. Jimmy Smits does a little bit. He comes back as Bail Organa, which I thought was perfect because it would make sense how he aged from the prequel movies, that he would be that age for this movie. I liked that. And I also liked the tie-in to Star Wars. I think they did a very good job of tying it into Star Wars. Darth Vader has a cameo. There were a couple of things about his look that I didn't like, and we'll talk about that in the spoiler review. But all in all, I think the directing was on point, the acting was on point, the dialogue was great, especially explaining what was going on. I think the beginning was a little too choppy. They moved from place to place too fast, and if you're just a casual fan that doesn't know what these locations are or the meaning of them, it can be confusing. I would give it a 9 out of 10. That's going to be my rating. 9 out of 10, very solid 9. I had some problems with the beginning, some of the decisions they made with just the costume and Darth Vader. But everything else, it got me in the beginning and kept me the whole way, which is what you need out of a movie. I would put it equal to Force Awakens. I did like Force Awakens, but it did have its problems. I think Rogue One had less problems than Force Awakens, but I do like where Force Awakens is going, and I think it would be a better movie once 8 and 9 come out. That's going to be my theory. But Rogue One, awesome. Great job, guys. Can't wait for the next anthology movie. 9 out of 10. But what do you guys think? Did you see Rogue One? Comment below and let me know your thoughts and what did you give it out of 10? Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you on the next video.